Hi, and welcome to Inside the Sound Chamber. I'm Don Reed Simmons, and the International Sound Therapy Association is having its 20th anniversary of a conference that's going to be in Atlanta, Georgia, October the 2nd through the 4th. And then there's an extra day on the 5th that's going to have an expanded classroom. But what's happening with ISTA? Through this 20 years, we have seen the world of sound really growing and blooming, and it's time for us to really come together and raise up the level of excellence in sound therapy. And so it's really important for people who are in this world of sound to really come together and have a stability of research, of education, and a excellence of practice. And that's why we're here having this conference, and that's why we're here having such amazing speakers like who we have right here today, Olivia Immitt. Olivia, I am so enthralled by your subject, which is soul song solutions. It's all about the voice, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. And it is a pleasure and honor to be here today. The voice
Thank
is
you.
what brought me into sound healing and is my passion to be able to unlock that in others.
How did it come about for you? What were you doing before you found sound, and how was that transition for you?
After I graduated college, I was a little bit depressed, to be honest with you.
Weren't we all?
I, yeah. I studied environmental studies, and so I graduated without any specific skill set, rather just a bunch of information about the state of the world. And so I decided to get a one-way ticket and go to South America and paint murals. During that time, I started to study different practices down in the Amazon, and one of them being ayahuasca. I participated in an ayahuasca ceremony, and during that ceremony, I learned that sound and voice is a big part of the healing practices of the Amazon and of many cultures around the world. And during that first ceremony, my voice was unlocked and I started singing. From that day forth, I've started
Wow.
singing. Now, a little bit of backstory leading up to that, I was experiencing what they thought were seizures. And so I was put on seizure medication. I was diagnosed with having seizures. And after I started singing, my symptoms completely went away. Now, my symptoms did not go away with the seizure medication because it wasn't seizures. And so that got me thinking, what is actually happening here? And I started to go down this rabbit hole of sound, and it was actually listening to a documentary on the pyramids about the Temple Hathor. And I didn't even plan this today. I'm wearing
Wow. Yeah.
the Hathor goddess on on me right now. My mother just gave this to me because my grandmother passed away this weekend.
Wow.
So beautiful coincidences. We are all
That is a
connected.
beautiful coincidence. Yeah.
And I heard the phrase sound healing, and I'm like, what is that? I want to do that. Something in me resonated, something in me connected. So during my classes, I teach people how to use their voice as a healing tool for themselves primarily, and then also to be able to use their voice as a tuning fork to be able to entrain somebody else if they are open to it. It's in my personal belief, when you are somebody that is holding space for somebody, it is not necessarily you that is healing them. You are providing that space for them to heal themselves.
Right.
And so teaching other people to use their voice both for themselves and to hold space for other people.
That is so incredibly powerful. And, there's so much to unpack within that. But, there's a statement that they say, sound therapy is the medicine of the future. And it's really bizarre because it's an ancient, 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 ancient practice. That sound is really this emergence from ancient times, because that's where sound really began, clicks and beats and using the voice to be able to make these things. And I really feel that sensation of this passing down of this necklace that you have from your grandmother. I mean, what a beautiful blessing that is, and you carrying that forward. You mentioned about the voice as a tuning fork. I love the voice. I love the tuning fork. putting those two things together is brilliant. Tell me about that.
Yes. So many people that are familiar with sound healing are familiar with toning. And it's basically you are humming or singing one single note. And this really hones in on the law of entrainment. Anything that is really consistent is going to entrain something that is sporadic into a consistency as well. The beautiful thing about it, it doesn't necessarily need to be the consistency that whatever the sporadic energy is that come into that homeostasis state, just by having a consistent tone has this entrainment effect. And I go into more detail about that. That was very simplified in my workshops. And so, with this knowledge of entrainment, you can use the voice to have consistency to be able to bring energy and matter together. Now, there is another component to sound healing if you wanted to break it down into two parts, one being that consistency, one being that dissonance. Dissonance breaks energy and matter apart. This is science. This isn't woo-woo anymore, which is
Right,
beautiful. Sound healing
right.
is now backed up by science. And so by using the voice as a tuning fork, I train people how to have that consistency. Again, you don't need to be a singer. You don't need to even sound pretty. It's just having that consistency and then learning how to have dissonance and being okay with sounding like a dying chicken, because that's part of the medicine. That's
Yeah.
part of having those blockages, both in our energetic, emotional, and even physical states, by allowing ourselves to make those weird sounds, by allowing ourselves to break whatever it is up in our systems that then can allow fluid movement throughout our system. And so you need both.
Yeah. Do you think by doing this kind of work, someone's voice will get better, or is it just that you get more comfortable with the voice,
I
or both?
think that the term better is us being able
Yeah.
to hit a specific note when we want to hit that specific note. So,
Yeah.
with that definition, yes, because you are entraining your voice to be able to make a certain sound with the intention of making that sound, whether it be a consistent sound or whether it be making a dissonant sound. The more you use anything, the more comfortable you're going to become with it, and the more you're going to be able to have that specific intention of doing what you want to do with it. So, yes. However, that's not the intention behind what I teach people. What I teach people is basically allow yourself to make sound, allow yourself to use your voice. A lot of
Mhm.
the times when we have something that's happening in ourselves, one of the most healing things that we can do is to express it, to get it out of our body. When we're sick, when we're in the hospital, or if we're home and somebody's taking care of it, what is one of the things that we do naturally? We moan, we make noises, we express the discomfort that we're in, and it helps it move through our body. And so learning how to do that with other things such as emotions, such as past trauma, such as wanting to just get an emotion moving through your body, like energy and motion is what I think emotions are, emotion, energy and motion. So to have that moved through the voice, I think is a key component for us to be able to empower ourselves with
You
using
know,
our voice as sound.
and to that point, this is the kind of thing that, people who understand and learn and train with this, everywhere you go, you have the opportunity to use your voice in a way, whether you're, in line at the grocery store, or, on an airplane, or with a client, or giving a sound bath using your voice as well. So it's really all encompassing because this thing is always following with you.
Exactly. And if you can
Yeah.
speak, you can sing. And again, it's not about sounding pretty, it's allowing yourself to make sound.
So is everybody going to sort of stand up in front of the room and sing, and everybody's going to look at everybody doing that?
Well, I
That's
don't
a
want to
good
scare
idea.
people away, but
Right.
I will encourage that. I will encourage people to first acknowledging that we are in a safe space. When
Yeah.
you are coming to a conference such as this This is a safe space for us to learn, grow, evolve, and hold space for one another. And so at the beginning of all of my workshops, because working with sound tends to bring up emotion, it
Yeah.
tends to have movement and profound experiences for people. And so whenever I hold a space for people, reminding them that they are safe, reminding us that we are co-creating this experience together. And with that foundation, oftentimes people do feel comfortable where they wouldn't have otherwise to be able to express themselves. So I do a group experiment, you would
Mhm.
say, with
Right.
one another to be able to tap into it. And then I have people break off into groups of two where they can practice on one another. Because part of this is working on yourself.
Yeah.
And part of this is being able to then work on another person if you are in a private practice that wants to be able to take this information and incorporate it into whatever it is that you do.
Makes perfect sense. You bring up something important also in regards to a conference. And a conference like this, I think, is sacred space, because you're with so many like-minded people that, and I'm sure you've been to many conferences. Talk to me about the importance of being together, like at a conference. What is your sensation about that?
Well, I'll come back to the law of entrainment. So when like-minded people come together, there is this field of resonance. Just for the example of whatever the conference is, whatever the subject is. And with this conference, it's sound. And so we've all come together with that specific intention to learn more about sound, to teach about sound, to share with each other about sound, to inspire each other about sound. And so with that consistency, we are then entraining this greater field. We are feeding one another something that we are seeking, and we are building a community of people to be able to expand further. It's a beautiful thing when like-minded people can come together and co-create this experience again in a safe environment. So
Yeah.
it is an absolute honor again to be a part of this.
Well, we are honored that you're a part of it. And this entrainment is so valuable, what you're talking about. And, the individual can fly high, but when there's this entrainment of multi thoughts and energy, you really fly very high. And I am so glad that you are here in part of the ISTA Sound Conference. Thank you so much for doing this. Is there anything else you would like to say?
One thing I'd like to say is that I am located in
Yeah.
rural Kentucky.
Yeah.
And so many people have the belief that if you are going to be in the alternative healing world, that you need to be located in a big city. And I am living proof that that is not the case.
Yeah.
I do travel quite a bit to be able to reach more people. And at the same time, being here in rural Kentucky, I am noticing an impact that I have had on the community of opening their eyes to something they would not have been exposed to otherwise. I first started off working in local libraries, teaching meditation classes.
Yeah.
And these local libraries have now expanded out into the surrounding counties. And we advertise it as a meditation, even though it is a sound bath, because the wording is still becoming familiarized with what in the world is sound healing. And so, just a reminder for whoever is seeing this right now to not limit yourself, especially if it is in terms of where you are located.
That's very powerful. And I think about, I was very fortunate to be able to study with Thich Nhat Hanh, who's a Vietnamese Buddhist monk. And he has a retreat center in France and another somewhere else, I can't remember. But the third retreat center is in Batesville, Mississippi. Really, Batesville, Mississippi. And I thought about that, of how from that little community, which really needs it and it grows, and it's very grassroots. And to your point, when you're in that small community, you really grow deep roots. And from those deep roots, because they have a cousin, an aunt, an uncle somewhere else, and it grows from a deep rooted place.
Yes.
So it makes sense. Thank you for bringing that up, because I think it's important for people to, as they say, grow where you're planted
Mhm.
and then travel as needed. So that's
Yes.
great. Olivia, I'm just so blessed. Thank you so much for being here. I can't wait for you to be in person at in Atlanta, Georgia. And so this is going to be October the 2nd through the 4th in Atlanta, Georgia, the ISTA 20th anniversary of sound therapy. It's going to be an amazing time. Get your tickets now, get to the hotel. It's going to be at the Omni downtown. It's where CNN actually began. And so, with this whole concept of how CNN changed the world, I think about this. CNN changed the world. Guess what? We're in the same place where CNN changed the world. Sound therapy is now coming out and changing the world too. Thank you, Olivia. I appreciate it. Can't wait to see you in Atlanta.
It is a pleasure, Don. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Until next time, I'm Don Reed Simmons, and I'll see you inside the sound chamber. Thank you.